Hello, this is kind of a bonus video because over Christmas my dad visited and he brought along his Peg Awl box so I could check it out. It costs a fortune, but you can find them on Jackson's Art. I will link it in the description below, well out of my price range, but I figured it would be really interesting just to show it on camera since I have the opportunity to look at one. This is the Scout Plein Air Pochade box for travelling around and painting. Let's get into it, shall we? Forgive me if my hands are out of sync, it's because I'm actually doing a voiceover. I had gotten a few things wrong and I just wanted to re-record it. But there are 4 options with the Peg Awl Pochade boxes. 2 of them are for oil and acrylics and 2 are for watercolours. They come in the options of walnut or maple wood, and my father decided to go for the maple, which is the paler of the 2. The walnut I think is quite a lot darker. And then the leather is vegetable tanned according to their website. It's a very thick leather, quite stiff when the box is new, but over time it will become supple with use. And probably quite patinaed as well. The boxes are handmade in the USA. I think they source pretty much all of their material in the States as well. Their workshops in Philadelphia. The leather part is attached by brass rivets, button studs, steel snaps, and a buckle on the strap. There is a front pocket here, which comes empty, but my dad has already put a few things in there. Those snaps are very sturdy. So just looking at what my dad stored in here, he's got a tiny art toolkit demi-palette that I bought him when I went shopping for them, some travel brushes, which I also bought him, I think off Amazon. If I can find them, I'll link them in the description below, but that little pouch fits really nicely in the front pocket of this Scout box. I think there's an extra strap here, I'm not entirely sure where that one goes. I don't think I figured that out in this video. One thing I did note is that you need to make sure this pouch is properly secured when you actually open the main part of the leather into the box, because it does go upside down, and I'll show that in a moment. The first time I nearly dropped everything out of it, of course, but I learned the hard way so that you don't have to. In order to open it up fully, there are some straps on the side here, which I'm unclipping now. These are also really sturdy, as you'd hope they would be, because if you're travelling around you don't want those coming undone. And I'm just showing you the back of it so you could see all those rivets and things that they've got in there. I'm not sure if I showed it, but on the bottom of the box there is an attachment for a tripod, so that's really great as well. You can actually mount this onto a tripod when you're out and about, which is super handy if you're wanting to stand. It was at this point when I realised there are 4 more clips at the top of it that also need to be undone. Honestly, this thing is so confusing when you haven't used one before, so just bear that in mind. They all need to be undone before you can actually fully open it to get to the goodies inside. It at least means that everything is secure inside, which is so important when you're travelling and things get moved around. Okay, I think I've finally gotten into it. Yep, here we go. And you can see how that pouch is flipped upside down, so if you haven't snapped it closed properly, everything's gonna slide out of it. I guess it's something that can't be helped. If you want to have a pocket on the outside, that's the price that is paid. There's also a small pouch on the inside of the lid part, so they've utilised as much space as possible. It's a fairly tight pocket, but you could slot in some little cards or something like that, I guess. You can see how the leather has picked up scratches from when Dad's opened it. I think I might have scratched it once as well. That is what happens to it. It will age over time, and that's kind of what it's meant to do. Using a bit of leather cream would probably buff that out as well. I could not get that catch back on. Once it goes back on, it's fine. And now to the main part of the box. It does look pretty lovely. I like this a lot. And we will come back to those catches in a while because they also have a purpose, as does pretty much everything on this box. All of the Scout boxes are pretty much the same, but there are a couple of differences between the oil acrylic options and the watercolour option. My father's decided to go for the watercolour one. So the lid comes off here, and inside is a wooden watercolour palette with 12 paint wells and a mixing well sealed with eco-epoxy. Now my dad has filled these with his own paints. This does come empty when you get it. I do like that it has a little mixing area. If this was the oil or acrylic option, it would come with a laminated glass palette here. I think I like the watercolour one better. So the whole thing slides out and you could easily hold that in your hand or set it down on a table if you have that luxury. A table is not always an option when you're out and about. So my dad went with Sennelier paints and he's filled it with a split primary palette. 2 yellows, reds and blues, a green, some browns, and other colours that he likes to use, I guess, for nature. So next we have this first little drawer, both of which are magnetised at the back, and in here we have two adorable little jars which are for putting water in, and I like that there's two so that you can have one for dirty water and one for clean rinsing water. They also have screw top lids which keeps everything airtight and prevents spillage of water. And I also like that they're in these little leather cases with the clips that I will show you where they go very soon. I think I was demonstrating here that the drawers slide in really smoothly. The quality of the woodworking is excellent. So now these little jars just clip on to the sides of the box. You can have both of them on the same side because there are enough clips to do that. Or the alternative is putting one on each side, and I love that there are options here. It's so great, you can just set that up however you prefer to have it. I think of everything in the box, the jars are my favourite thing, they're just so adorable. And I love it when things have a great function like that. Now for the second drawer, and there are a couple of binder clips in here which magnetise to the back of the wood, which is fantastic, so they don't rattle around or fall out if you shake it. What also came in this drawer that Dad didn't remember to bring, he'd left them at home, are 8 empty paint tubes, so you can actually make your own watercolours and fill the tubes with them. These also come in the acrylic and oil painting boxes too. And last up are 4 ampersand aqua boards that come in there and slot in. These ones are actually designed for watercolours. The oil and acrylic box comes with gesso boards, which would probably look very similar to these. I've never used an aqua board. Apparently they have a textured clay surface which is able to absorb watercolours like paper. I'd be curious to get some of that and try it out. I wasn't going to try out my dad's aqua boards because he hasn't used this kit yet, and that would just be rude. My dad also bought some really thick 640 GSM paper in an A5 pad, and if you cut those in half, those will slot in there because these are A6 sized. So you could easily store A6 sized watercolour sheets or other kinds of paper in there. And I have seen these ampersand boards for sale in my local art store too. So here is how you might use the box. As you can see here, there is a little groove in the wood on either side, and the lid of it will actually fit in there. Now it can go this way, but actually if you flip it around, you could see those 2 clips on it, which very conveniently go with these 2 straps that I'm pulling off from the lid part now. Once again, it took me a little while to figure this out. My dad had shown me earlier, and I don't know that I would have figured that out on my own, that this lid actually connects to the leather part like this, and then the little board sits on top, so you've got a makeshift easel. I just think that is pure genius. I love it so much. So you can have your little box set up like this, and you don't need anything else to go with it. You could possibly attach a sketchbook to the lid as well, using those little clips. I'm not too sure how that would work, and it would probably need to be a fairly small book. Or you could possibly even sit the book in the groove where the lid is. So I think there are a few different alternatives to it, but I'm pretty sure this is the intended way of using it. It does look great. I would be very happy to take this out painting. Here we go, I'm doing a pretend demonstration because I really didn't want to actually use the box when my father hasn't used it properly yet. I think you get the idea though. So that's pretty much everything that's inside the Peg Awl Scout box, except for the empty paint tubes which my dad had left at home. I think it's really beautiful. I'd seen it online and I was really curious about it, but they are extremely pricey. It's a very boutique piece, and I would consider it an investment if you're a serious artist or you just really like to do plein air painting. And hey, everyone likes to own nice things. My dad decided to treat himself to this, and I really hope he enjoys using it. I knew I filmed it somewhere. That's the tripod mount on the bottom of the box. The other thing I should note is it is quite a hefty unit. That is a very solid wooden box, and with everything Dad has in it, it comes in at just under 2.5 kilos, which is a little over 5 pounds, and it might get heavier if you put more stuff in it, so if weight's an issue, that is something to think about. So that's all I've got for today. I just thought it would be interesting to take a look at this Peg Awl Scout Plein Air box because I'd seen it around. There are hardly any videos out there aside from the user guide that Peg Awl themselves released. I might link that as well because it is a little bit confusing when you first get the box as to how the heck to use it. I hope my video was helpful and gave you some ideas on all of the different parts of the box and the leather covering it. It's not a full review because I wasn't about to use something that costs this much that isn't mine, but from my impressions it is incredibly sturdy and beautifully well made. I would be very happy having one of these, and if you're looking to treat yourself or someone special, I think that this is a really great idea, and definitely worth checking out. Thank you so much for watching, I hope it was helpful. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and click that subscribe button for more videos. And you might also want to check out the videos that are popping up on the screen now. Have a great day and I'll see you all again really soon in my next video. Swatch you later, bye!